Voting has started. Yes. Good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of Glamorgan Spring Bay Council, Tuesday the 28th of April 2026.
Glamorgan Spring Bay Council acknowledges the traditional owners of our region and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present.
This meeting is being recorded due to the inability of our technology to live stream and record at the same time in some circumstances. Today's meeting will be uploaded to the Council YouTube channel within 48 hours. Please be advised that the meeting is being audio and visually recorded, and I ask that all attendees remain respectful and considerate of others, and advise that offensive, defamatory or threatening language or behaviour to those present or listening is not acceptable. All councillors are present, noting that Councillor Carol McQueenie resigned as a councillor. This council will be operating as a 7-member council until the election. In attendance, we have the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Shaw, the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Ron Anderson, the Acting Director of Planning and Development, Mr. James Bonner. Online, we have Ms. Danielle Tuck, the Acting Corporate and Financial Services Director, Ms. Shannon Mitchellmore, our Information Technology Officer, and our Executive Officer, Ms. Isabel Clarkson. Thank you. And 2 members of the public. Agenda item 1.2 is the late reports. Mr. Shaw, I don't believe we have any late reports.
Madam Mayor, no reports received.
Thank you. Agenda item 1.3 is the declaration of interest in a matter. As Mayor, I request elected members to indicate whether they have 1, any interest personally or via a close associate as defined in section 49 of the Local Government Act 1993, or 2, any conflict as described in the Model Code of Conduct for Councillors in any item included in the agenda. Nothing? No declarations? Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes. Agenda item 2.1, the ordinary meeting of Council, Tuesday the 24th of March. There is a recommendation on page 6. Everybody here?
I will note that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 24th of March 2026 at 2:04 p.m. be confirmed as a true and correct record.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Young. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 2.2 is the date and purpose of workshops held at 14th of April, noting that there were two officers in attendance that have been missed from the attendance record, in Miss Bernadette Poglareski and Miss Jill Dabrowski. Thank you. There is a recommendation on page 7. Thank you, Councillor Edwards.
Move the council notes the information.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson. With the motion, all those in favour? Those against? Carried. Public question time 3.1. There are nil responses to previous questions. On notice, there are nil responses to previous questions without notice. Agenda item 3.3 is questions on notice. There is questions from Mr. Wes Button that have been responded to. Mr. Shaw, do you need to add anything to the responses at this point?
Madam Mayor, no, I think the responses address the questions in their entirety.
Thank you. Item 3.4 is questions without notice. We have Ms. Carol McQueenie in the chamber who wishes to put a question to council. Thank you, Ms. McQueenie.
Thank you, Mayor. Is it operating?
Yes.
Thank you. My question. For the last 2 years, I've worked tirelessly to achieve a better local government grant allocation for this community. And my research has identified that there were 2 core parts to getting that fairer share. The first part was to ensure that no council, i.e. us, can be left further behind and further than other councils. This simply sets a new lowest amount for us. As of last week, that has occurred with a more than doubling from last year in the coming year from 240,000 to 501. The second part was to get the Grants Commission to make changes to its grant formula with a key focus on cost adjusters. These would ensure ongoing increases into the future for this community. That has yet to occur. Changes to the methodology only occur as part of a 2 to 4 year life cycle. Luckily, the cycle is actually happening in 2026 with formula changes to be determined in May and June after the cycle closes. The closing date for the cycle is now literally 2 days away. Happily, as all councillors know, the President of the Commission agreed to meet with me, an interested party, for formula discussions. They have reconfirmed their willingness, noting that Council have someone in attendance. The opportunity exists right now, but only for the next few days, for a credible technical formula discussion that could deliver the basis for ongoing increases to this area. I am willing, and the Commission are willing, but awaiting a reply from Council. The only requirement is an hour of someone's time for participation in a Teams meeting. I'm struggling to imagine what our ratepayers, and I'm one of them, would make of councillors not wanting to take advantage of this rare advocacy opportunity that can actually lead to a fairer outcome for this community for an hour of someone's time online. My question to you, Mayor and councillors, is quite simply if one or more of you are willing to be available for an hour of your time to ensure this rare opportunity is not squandered. I would request an urgent response given the 2-day deadline and the weeks that have already passed since the Commission agreed.
Thank you, Ms McCraney. I think at this point, as you are aware from your time on council, there is no debate on this matter. I think the only thing we can do is take a question on notice and respond to you in the shortest possible time frame. Thank you. Mr. Murray, did you have a question? I'm sorry, it was remiss of me not to ask you.
No, that's fine. No, you've already checked.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. We will move on.
Madam Mayor, could I ask a question of you and the councillors following the comment by former councillor McQueening? Are we going to nominate someone to speak to the Commission? And if so, will we notify the Commission within the deadline?
I think as I indicated, councillor, there's no discussion on this in this particular section, or no debate in this particular session. I think perhaps it's a conversation we have out of session, and I'm happy to have that with you at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. I'd like it not to be forgotten, that's all.
I'm sure you will remind me, councillor Young.
Oh, well, my memory's not as good as it was once.
That's all right. Neither's mine at times. Agenda item 4 is the Planning Authority section. This new reports. Agenda item 14. Agenda item 5 rather is the financial reports. There is a recommendation on page 14. Councillor Churchill, thank you.
I move the council receives and notes the financial reports as attached to this report ending 31 March 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, thank you. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just briefly, there's a correction there to be made. It's in the background overview, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph down. Based on the budget year being for 12 months, council is 51% of the way through the financial year. We're actually 75% the way through the financial year.
Thank you. Mrs. Tuck, I'm sure you have noted that for the minutes. Thank you.
Yes, that has been noted, yes. Thank you.
Councillor Churchill, anything further?
No, I don't think I had anything else there.
Councillor Gregson is the seconder. Do you have any comment?
No.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the finances? Okay, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carries unanimously. Agenda item 6 is the section 24 committee reports. 6.1 is the Coles Bay Hall Committee. Can I note that the recommendation should state and noted. The recommendation for Coles Bay Hall is on page 14.
I'll move that the minutes. Coles Bay Hall Committee meeting held in March 2026 have been distributed to council on the 22nd of April 2026.
Received and noted.
Be received and noted.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Edwards, thank you. No comment?
Yes.
Yes, Councillor Gregson.
You've got the Coles Bay Hall Committee and the Bishop Memorial Hall minutes.
Councillor Gregson, you're probably going to have to bring a microphone
Right, yeah,
closer to you because even I'm
that's fine,
struggling
that's
to
fine.
hear you at the moment.
That's fine. Is that better? Okay, thank you. We've got the detail in the attachments.
Mhm.
This was formerly in the agenda, and with regard to that, I assume that the details won't be in the minutes, as it's not in the agenda.
I'm sorry, you assume what?
That the detail which is in the attachment,
Attachment, yes.
which formerly was in the agenda, in here, it was noted in the agenda here with all the detail.
The attachments form part of the agenda, Councillor Gregson.
Yes, I know, but will they've taken out the details here and put it in the attachment? Will the detail of the Coles Bay Hall Committee and the Bicheno Memorial Hall Committee, the details of that, will that be recorded in the minutes? Because I can't understand why it's been taken out. Will that be
It
recorded?
hasn't been taken out of the agenda. It
Well-
is part of the attachments and the minutes will record that. That's what,
Yes, but not the detail, I assume.
that'd be right.
Yeah. So why was
Because
that?
the whole committee, the section 24 committee minutes are received by council for noting.
Yes.
They're not our minutes in such that we can make corrections to them or anything like that.
No, I'm not saying we're going to correct them at all. What I just want to note it for people who read the minutes to have a look at, see what's going on. That gives it
They're
a clear.
available. They are available online.
I know, but everyone doesn't have want to read it online. They want to see the agenda, and it's all there. Whereas in the attachment, in the minutes, it won't be there.
Okay. All right, point taken. We'll see what we're going with.
Right. Yeah, I'd like them recorded in the minutes. That was
Councillor Churchill, please.
I'd just like to actually support what Councillor Gregson's saying, because that information is lost to community through the system. And I think he has a very, very valid point there. And I think we need to perhaps revisit this process.
All right, thank you. Officers can take that on board for the minutes, I'm sure.
Through Madam Mayor, I'd seek clarification on what the proposed solution is.
Putting the copy of the minutes, a copy of the section 24 committee minutes inside the minutes of the council meeting. So that in the
just revert back to what
so
we
that
had.
it stays in that, so it's rather than them being in the attachments, they're in the agenda, which then becomes the minutes.
Exactly.
As I understand it, yes. Okay, thank you.
Just revert back to what
Thank
we
you,
had.
councillor Gregson. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? So those against? Motion's carried. Thank you. The elder care minutes, so the agenda item 6.2, there is a recommendation on page 16. Councillor Walker.
Before I move, there is no attachment.
No.
They weren't included in the attachment. So that one needs to be withdrawn. and brought to the next council meeting because they're not in the attachment.
Ah.
And it was remiss of me not to get it brought to attention sooner.
Right,
So the elder care committee meeting minutes. I'm not
it
there,
did
so
right, need to be withdrawn, is what you said.
I'll just move to withdraw the elder care minutes, February 2026.
I'll second that.
I'll just withdraw.
Thank you.
This one.
For the purposes of this report.
For the purposes of this report, and they will be hopefully included in the May agenda.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 6.3 is the Bicheno Hall Committee minutes. For the November 2025 meeting, there is a recommendation on page 16. Deputy Mayor?
I'll move that the minutes of the Bicheno Memorial Hall Committee held in February 2026 have been distributed to council on the 22nd of April 2026 be received and noted.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, Deputy Mayor? Anything?
No, nothing, just thanks to
Thank
the
you.
committee. who are
Just
doing a great
received them.
job.
Thank
Yep.
you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 6.4 is the Bicheno Memorial Hall minutes, the February 2026 meeting. I'm sorry.
So we do it back
We missed
to
one.
6.3.
Sorry. Oh,
If I may, Madam Mayor,
yes.
councillor Simons
Sorry, I did
moved
6.4.
6.4, but we need to move 6.3.
Sure.
He's
Sorry, I didn't pick that up. Sorry.
got ahead of himself.
Yeah, sorry, my fault. 6.3.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I'll move.
Yeah,
I did announce 6.3, but didn't pick up
Sorry.
what you were saying. Sorry.
my fault.
Agenda item 6.3 then is November 2025 minutes. Deputy Mayor, Councillor
I'll
Walker.
move that the minutes of the Bicheno Hall Memorial Hall Committee meeting held on November 2025 have been distributed to council on the 22nd of April 2026 be received and noted.
Thank you. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Thank you. Agenda item 7 is the information reports. 7.1 is the acting chief executive officer, Mr. Shaw. There is a recommendation on page 21. Deputy Mayor.
I'll move the council notes the information.
Thank you. Seconder. Seconder, please. Councillor Walker, thank you. Deputy Mayor, have any comment, questions? No.
Madam Mayor, I have a couple of questions, if I may.
Yes, just
On
Councillor Young, could I please go to Councillor Walker because no comments, right? Councillor Young,
the paper printout on page 16, I've forgotten what TTMPPIP means. What does that mean?
I think we all have, Councillor.
I like acronyms, but I don't know them all.
Tomorrow.
Mr. Shaw,
Through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Young. The acronym stands for Tribunner Tomorrow Marine Precinct Infrastructure.
Oh, I see. Yes, I do know about that. Thank you. I'd like to ask a couple of other questions, if I may.
you may.
There is a recruitment process underway, page 17. I'm not asking the full detail of the process, but people come and go from this council, and I don't know the names of all of them. And when they sometimes come here or appear on a screen, they've got nice faces. I don't know what their name is, and I don't know what they do. It'd be very nice if we had access to a list of the employees and roughly what they did. I don't ask if their direct phone number, but if we like to know that Mr. Cashin, for instance, as he was once, was the plumbing inspector, then someone says, Mr. Cashin said so-and-so, we know what the hell they're talking about. that's one thing I would like our CEO to do. On page 17,
Page 17,
yeah, again, the matters that raise some concern to me, workers' compensation. We've got 2 active cases.
Councillor, can I just clarify for you? It's actually page 21, isn't it?
It's page 17 on the paper.
You're not coordinating. The
No,
pages between the computer version and the hard copies are not. They're
Well,
a long way apart.
Thank you.
yeah.
Look, I don't know the computer version. I couldn't open the attachments at home, but Shannon appeared over here before the starting of the session today and opened it up. And because of her magical expression, it all appeared on the screen, but it doesn't happen at home. I don't know whether it's my connection to the satellite or the magnetic touch of my fingers. But getting back to workers' compensation, I don't know, I don't want to know the detail of each case, but I'd like to know what the 2 active cases were and what the new case was, whether accident, sickness, that sort of thing, because it sometimes has a bearing on how we run things. I'd like an answer to that question, if I may.
Thank you.
And I have other questions to ask.
Sure.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Young. In relation to the workers' compensation, the 2 existing cases, they're very long running cases. So there's historical context to that. The one of more relevance, I think, to you and the chamber is the new case, and that was a workplace injury where a person has tripped and injured their ankle, and they're currently unfit for work until further notice.
Now, that's one of them. What about the other 2?
I can chase up the details.
I don't want to know much more than that. What interests me is whether or not it arose out of something that we have some control over, or it's an accident, as sometimes happen when you have a heart attack at work, and we don't seem to have any effect on that at all.
Councillor Young, if I may, Mr. Shaw just said that they were 2 long-standing cases.
Thank you.
There has been 2 active cases going now for maybe 2 or 3 years that council were advised.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to know.
Yes.
And get down to accident reporting.
Yep.
I know about motor vehicle animal impact damage. I've suffered a few, but there are 3 first aid injuries and 2 medical treatment injuries. I hope we didn't suffer injury whilst going to first aid training. What happened there roughly?
Mr. Shaw?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm not entirely sure what the question is that needs to be responded
Oh,
to.
what was first aid injury? What does it mean?
That's something we'd have to take on notice, Councillor Young, because
Okay.
it's not something.
That's right, Madam Mayor, you've ruled. What about the 2 medical treatment injuries?
That would be the same. And
So
I
I hope they didn't get injured at Trivana Healthcare.
we'll take those questions on notice, Councillor. Mr. Shaw.
They're the only questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I need to respond to this first question.
Councillor Walk, sorry.
I need to respond to Councillor Young's first question.
All right. Which is,
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Young's first question, he asked whether councillors could be provided with contact information for council staff. It's a fair and reasonable question, and in fact, Councillor Young did ask me that exact question following the last council meeting, and I did take that to our HR business partner. And the advice I've received from the HR business partner is that we can provide the email and the first name and the position title to council staff, but that is the extent of it. No surname and no phone numbers.
I'm not asking their phone numbers. I just want to know who they are, you see.
sorry, Councillor Young, can I just interrupt here? Mr. Shaw, a couple of general managers ago, we had a similar conversation about councillors not knowing the staff, particularly in this office, and equally the staff not knowing the councillors. We've been through a security checklist or something like that with the IT people, and we were told that we were asked to, if we saw someone in the main foyer, for example, that we didn't know, that we should challenge them as to whether they should be there. It's a bit difficult when you don't know who the people are that's working in the back in the back office. So we did have a situation where new staff were brought into a workshop and actually introduced to councillors. And I think to satisfy Councillor Young's concerns, it might be in our interest to resume that, because we as councillors really only get introduced to the directors and that higher level management. It's unfair to both the staff in the back office there and to the councillors who come into the office not to know who they are. I think if we could have, and it might be, as I said, it might be just as simple as bringing a couple of officers into a workshop just to introduce them to the elected members.
Can I respond?
Yes.
In response to that, Madam Mayor, I have only today had that exact conversation with our HR business partner, Tracy Ferguson. I'm really pleased to announce that this week on Monday, we had 2 new staff join the council in 2 incredibly important positions for the council, one being our work health and safety and wellbeing officer. They have a huge task ahead of them, and we've been really lucky to appoint somebody with an incredible skill set and a degree of experience. And the other key position is the property officer and projects person, which you might recall was vacated by Kerry Kempnich. Again, we've picked up somebody from the commercial real estate sector with huge amounts of experience. So we're actually really, really excited by filling these vacancies. And Tracy Ferguson and I were only discussing how do we best introduce these people to our elected members. And you'll be pleased to know, Madam Mayor, that where we landed was introducing people at council workshops. So I'm really happy to do that. And I think we'll work together to produce an information kit around contacts for key staff. So I think that would be limited to indoor staff.
Yes.
Impractical for outdoor staff. But thank you, Councillor Young. Thank you for raising it.
It will help a bit. I didn't want to pry, but I'd just like to know who the people are that put their head in here.
I agree.
It's incredibly important, Councillor, with all the with the different training that we've done around security in the council chamber, and that we all know who each other is that walks into this office.
Surely it's very
Councillor
simple
Lewis?
just to have a list with Isabel.
Yeah.
And then we can look at it at home. Somebody rings up and goes, "Who's the plumbing inspector?" Well, that's Dick Smith. I know I'm not very memorable, but I need to be able to remember these memorable staff that we have.
And can I also just flag a long time ago, we actually did elected members actually did a bus tour around the municipal area and went to the various depots and met the staff there. That might be something to consider for the new council coming in.
Noted. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Walker, then Councillor Gregson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the same, can you hear me? On the same vein as Councillor Young, under work health and safety, I've flagged this for quite some time. And I've been in this chamber when there's been angry people. There's only one way in and one way out. And it says here, site safety inspection, including depot and buildings, and council chambers is one of them. Would it not be reasonable, I think, that this room should have an exit as well, rather than, and I know I've been told many times that it's impossible to do. But it's not a very safe,
No, councillor Young.
it's not a very safe place to be when there are angry people in here, and you can't escape, or you can't get out of the situation.
Get under the
So
desk.
something needs to, I think, be explored in regards to that
And
in this very chamber.
it's something that our new work health and safety person can probably take on board.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that.
Sure. Is that acceptable?
Noted. Thank you very much for
Thank
the
you.
question.
Councillor Gregson.
Right, this is on page 16 of the hard copy. I don't know what page it's on the electronic version, but 16 meetings. 30th of March at Tromley Farm. Could you elaborate on that meeting, and also the 31st of March, Environmental Protection Authority? Good man, to the acting CEO.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Gregson, for the question. So, not all meetings I can elaborate on in full in the public realm, but we are having discussions with Tromley Farm around a infrastructure project that they are considering on their property that may benefit council and the ratepayers of Orford and Tribunna in particular. And the meeting that was held on the 31st of March in with the EPA, that's a confidential matter, not for the public record.
Councillor Churchill.
Just on the water restrictions, are we up to stage 3 in Tribunna and Orford?
They were introduced, stage 3 was introduced yesterday. The CEO and I had, the acting CEO and I had a very productive conversation with the CEO of Taswater and their communications team. We highlighted for them that it's all very well to send out notices with QR codes and things like that. Too many people in this community did not know what stage 2 water restrictions look like. So we asked Taswater if they would consider doing a very simple letterbox drop so that everybody knows, because of the difficulty of some of our older members of the community to deal with QR codes.
Madam Mayor, I have difficulty with QR.
I don't even know what it stands for, to be perfectly honest, Councillor Young, and I've only just figured out recently how you do it. So we have spoken to Taswater about providing plain English information to our communities about what stage 3 water restrictions actually look like.
QR code ain't directs to the website, that's all.
Councillor Edwards.
Can I just say, since I've lived here, which is about 20 years, I think, we've had ongoing water shortages.
Yep.
I think it was 26 years out of 32. We'd had water restrictions. Then Taswater came in and said you can't subdivide any more blocks 10 years ago. Then it rained. Oh, heavens above, we'll never have a dry time again. Since it rained and they took that restriction off, we've had over 500 blocks subdivided and not 1 litre more of water. In fact, we've got less because the dam is full of mud and sludge. And so we'll go through another lovely talking process with them again. And then lo and behold, it'll rain and it's all solved. It is just hopeless.
So, Councillor Edwards, can I tell you that Mr. Shaw and I actually raised that because it's been a bugbear of Councillor Walker for a very long
And Councillor
time.
Edwards.
And when they say, apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Shaw, when they say that we have the capacity to deal with those subdivisions, it's all to do with the water treatment capacity, not necessarily the quantity of water.
Nor the drinking of the water, I assume.
But we still can't vote them down.
No, so we're
So-
so they are having doing quite a lot of research around water surety, because they recognised, I think we had, was it 7 water restrictions in the last 3 years? Something like that was the statistics. Yeah, it has been ridiculous and Taswater finally recognised that.
And if we knock back a subdivision, which we can't because of water, then we'll go to Tascat and we'll get a great big bill for.
Exactly.
So we're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. And they'll have another little committee meeting and come up with some more bump.
So
I'm just sick and tired of them, to be honest.
So
As you
there
may tell.
is some, Taswater have some matters in train at the moment to try and address our water. So
Imagine.
we'll just have to see where we go with that.
Madam Mayor, can I make one more statement about this?
Yes,
When stage 2 water restrictions on, I realised I didn't mean much because I saw an person employed down in the state health department round the back there hosing several cars and washing them down in the yard behind the health officers. So I knew that we had plenty of water. I think someone must have gone to Singapore to get a few more shiploads.
thank you, councillor. Are there any other questions for Mr. Shaw? There's nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you unanimously. Agenda item 7.2 is the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sanderson's report. There is a recommendation on page 25. Mr. Sanderson, would you join us? Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I move that the Director of Works and Infrastructure report be received and noted?
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Thank you. Do you have a question, Councillor Young?
I don't have any questions of Mr. Sanderson.
No. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the same vein as what we've just been talking about water, on page 19 of the report, water tap at Tribunna Cemetery, this has been disconnected by Taswater and it was unmetered connection. This tap also raised safety issues with caravan motorhomes using it to fill up with water and block the footpath and damage the cemetery grounds. Damage will not be reinstated. There also is a bit of an issue too with the water at the recreation ground. They've sort of seem to have moved on from the cemetery to the recreation ground. So with the caravans.
Yes, we're looking,
Mr. Sanderson, thank you.
yes, the one at the cemetery was an odd one because when Taswater, we found out it wasn't metered and they were going to charge a lot of water to put a meter on. So we definitely stopped that and we don't use it. So the one at the rec ground, we're looking at putting a timer on it and also putting some signage that they should be using the one down at the dump point across the river. But we're aware of that. Yes.
And can I add further to that?
Yes, of course.
The sad thing about, the tap at the cemetery is where, when you go and place flowers in a vase, that's where you go and get the water for your vase. So, serious. So people need to be aware that they need to take their own water now.
Okay. Yeah, point taken. Hadn't realised that.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
I have two questions. One is, tourists come to our town and spend money, and surely to goodness, a 10-second timer to me seems to be ridiculous. They want to put some water in their van. Would not a sign there saying, please don't wash your caravan and be a twit about it. But if you want some water for your van, you have to have a degree of making these people, the tourists, welcome, not just say, nick off. It seems to me to be absolute overkill, a 10-second timer where a nice little notice would stop 95% of people, because most people are decent and realise you've got a water shortage. So I think it's, and as you say, the one I'm down the rec grounds and they're filling up there all the time. There's people there with a 2-litre bottle filling up the tap and tipping it into their caravan. But what else are they supposed to do? They're going to the IGA and buying bread and milk and meat and going to the butcher shop and spending money in the down, and we treat them like lepers. The other question I had to ask was 17 Acre Creek. I know they've knocked us back on the grant. It goes to 5 tonne this year. I'm told it'll go to 0 next year. The road will be shut. Do we have any contingency plan, anything which we may be able to do? Because as you are well aware, I live on one end of it and your works manager lives on the other end of it. And we both know that there's a hell of a lot of traffic goes up and down there.
Mr. Sanderson?
Are you finished? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm finished, yeah.
Yeah, we've gone to tender. The tenders will be received May 12th. It'll go to the May 28th meeting for appointing the job to replace it. That's as fast as we can move.
Cool. Well, that's good. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Your
I didn't hear the answer. What was it?
We've gone to tender. Tenders will be received on the 12th of May, so it'll go to the May meeting for.
Thank you. I heard that.
That's excellent.
Councillor Gregson, I'll come to you, but just give me a sec. Is there a solution for the cemetery? Because we have a lot of older people, obviously widows, and that in that use that tap there. So, is there a solution?
Oh, I'll have to follow it up because to reinstate it, we'll need to put a meter on it, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, we'll have to consider it. Yeah, we'll come back.
Thank you. I'm only thinking.
No, I
about
understand. We hadn't thought of that.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
okay.
Plastic flowers, maybe.
Councillor Gregson.
Not the price of oil.
Councillor Gregson.
Your notebook reviews and.
Wait for the dollars. With regard to page 21, disaster ready fund, round 3, which was successful, how much was that funding for? And does it include, as the Swansea Town Hall is classed really as an emergency centre when bushfires, etc., would that include showers and a form of partition when people are in emergency accommodation?
The disaster ready fund is for flooding. There's nothing to do with a hall. It's roughly $500,000. It's just the top of my head, pardon me. The council is putting about $43,000 in out of a $500,000 grant, and the LRT, I've forgotten what it's called. LRF is putting in kind 18,000 roughly. Those are rough numbers. But it's over $500,000 grant. Council's exposure 43, 45 around that, and in kind from the community NRM thing is about 18. And it's for removing things, a couple of culverts, a bit of earthworks for flood mitigation at Swansea.
Oh, is that really the saltwater?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine. Thank you. And also, the second question, with regard to the faded signs at Coles Bay, just wondering whether when they're being replaced, it'd be applicable to the Swansea Men Shed and the Rias Theatre to have signs there, because no one knows where it is.
Yeah, no, I'm following that. That's on the list. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last question with regard to illegal use, and it's reported to me at the Swansea Oval there was a chap with one of these ubiquitous vans was using power near the practice wickets, and there seems to be no lock on the power outlet there, and he seemed to put the whole lights on of the Oval as well. So I was wondering whether you could check that out to see, what the situation is, please.
Have to follow it up.
Yeah, that's fine. And the last question. Yeah, and the last question is, just with all the fires and everything like that, has the council considered making on the Dolphin Sand Road the allotment numbers on the road so they can be easily identified in an emergency?
Councillor Gregson, can I ask a question? Which road are you talking about?
Dolphin Sands Road.
And is it referred to? I can't find a reference in Mr. Sanderson's report. Is this just an extra?
Oh, well, just as an emergency, we've had fires at Swansea just recently, and I thought this might be an opportune time.
You're introducing new information into a report. So I think the only thing that Mr. Sanderson can reasonably do is take those questions on notice and deal with them outside out of session.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. But when we are dealing with a report that's in the agenda, you can't introduce new information into it. Okay. Councillor Churchill.
If I may, Mr. Sanderson, the steel skate ramp at our park, is there plans to replace that? Or
which one? I'm sorry.
At our park, we're told here that the steel skate ramp has been removed because it was dangerous. Are there plans to replace that?
If it's one I'm referring to, the answer is no.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, it's just dangerous. It's gone. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was very old too, if I remember.
If it's the one I'm told one was removed, I haven't seen it personally, but I was told it was unsafe. It has been removed and won't be used.
Right, thank you, Mr. Sanderson. Any further questions for Mr. Sanderson? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 7.3 is the Acting Director of Planning and Development, Mr. Bonner's report. This is a recommendation on page 27 of mine. Councillor Churchill, thank you.
I move that council receives and notes the report on the activities on the Planning and Development Directorate.
Seconder, Councillor Edwards. Mr. Bonner, would you care to join us, please? Thank you. And can I just note that in the paragraph before planning, it says all samples returned complaint. It should be all samples returned compliant results in accordance.
Yeah.
Spell check is not great sometimes, Mr. Bonner. So now, questions, comments, Mr. Bonner, Councillor Churchill, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may ask Mr. Bonner, how is there any time frame being put around the issue of the sperm whale carcass on the beach?
So parks matter all councils involved with that we've been involved is putting some information signs up for the public and putting up on our website. As Senior Environmental Health Officer, developed the signs in consultation with Parks and Department of Health to provide a bit more information. But ultimately, it's up to Parks as to what happens. I actually note there's a whale carcass is washed up in Sydney as well. And they're going through a similar process.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Nothing for Councillor Walker?
Oh, no. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I won't because it's introducing you.
Thank you.
Question. Thank you.
Nothing further?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question to Mr. Bonner. Just under building and plumbing, we've got 0 building permits. So that's the period of 30 days previous to our last meeting.
Yes, it's. I suppose it's a way we've got a building approval for notifiable building works, and we've got approvals for low risk building purposes, but no permits as such.
Thank you. Nothing further? Mr. Bonner, before I put the motion to receive the report, I'm going to sound a little bit like a crack record here, Mr. Bonner, because I have a vague recollection of making this similar statement a couple of months ago. But I understand this is your last meeting with council. You're retiring at the end of the week.
That's
again.
Yes.
But we certainly appreciate the time you've taken to stay with us during this difficult resource timing that we've had. On behalf of council, elected members, I wish you well in your retirement. I do hope we see you back here at some time, though, in some form or other. So
Thank you,
so
Mayor.
thank you for all your work that you've done for us in the time you've been here. It's been exemplary. Thank you.
Yeah.
So on that note, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. Thank you. Agenda item 7.4 is the Acting Director of Corporate and Financial Services, Ms. Tuck. There is a recommendation on Councillor Walker.
I'll move that the Director of Corporate and Financial Services Information Report for the month of March 2026 be received and noted.
Thank you. I note that. Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Young. I note that we have Ms. Tuck online and Ms. Walters online. So, Councillor Gregson.
Oh, no, I'm just considering, I've just put them out. No, it
Thank
wasn't.
Do we have any questions or comments for the officers? Nothing on those reports? Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 7.5 is the action register. It's been quite useful in being able to track the active resolutions. There is a recommendation. 30.
I'll move that council receives and notes the active resolution report.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Churchill, any questions or comments in relation to the active resolution? Councillor Walker?
Yes, it's the very top one, the sale of 50 Beatty Avenue
Mm-hmm.
Land and Lions Park. Where are we up to with that at the moment? Because seems everything else has been completed.
Sure. Mr. Shaw, can you? Or is it
Through
you need to
Madam-
take on notice?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like to invite Acting Director James Bonner to the table.
Oh, James, welcome back.
Didn't last long.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor. So the notification process is currently on. It finishes, I think, on the 30th of April. We are receiving a number of submissions. And once we collect those submissions, we do a report will come up to council. I'm anticipating May or June. So there was a slight administrative error in the advertising, so we had to recommence the advertising. Some of the dates were wrong. And so we didn't feel like we weren't misleading people. We decided to re-advertise it.
I do have a question after all. What is the approximate cost that 58 Betty Street will require?
Sorry, Councillor Gregson, what was the question?
In approximate dollar terms, how much is 58 Betty Street? How much is 58 Betty Street anticipated to bring as far as cost?
What are the last two words, Mr. Greg?
Councillor Young,
How
please.
much is 58 Betty Street, in other words?
Councillor Gregson, I'm sorry, I didn't even get that last bit. So what is your question?
I'm just following up with Councillor Walker with regard to 58 Betty Street.
50, yes,
58
right.
Betty Street.
50 Beatty Street.
Avenue.
50 Beatty Street,
Avenue,
not 58.
Avenue.
So 50.
Avenue.
All right, I was totally wrong house there. So 50 Beatty
Right.
Avenue. 50 Beatty Avenue.
One moment.
Yes.
Councillor Gregson, without interruption, can you please repeat your question
Thank you.
so I can hear it?
Right, okay. No, it's concurrent with Councillor Walker's question on 50 Beatty Avenue, Bicheno. And that's going to be sold to basically replenish the playground equipment at Lions Park, Bicheno. How much is the anticipated cost or the value of the premises? What is the value of that?
It's not.
After what, Madam Mayor?
Councillor Young, please.
I couldn't hear the last bit.
Councillor Gregson, that I don't believe there's a question for an open forum in a matter that's a property for sale. So I'm not going to allow the question at this point.
Okay, very well, very well.
Right. Any other questions? Councillor Churchill?
Just, if I may, Mayor, just wondering, with this action register,
Yes.
as these issues are dealt with, they're taken off the register, is that right?
As I understand it.
Is that the way it operates? Or?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, we're actually looking at that and questioning how it's operated previously, because we think there's improvements on how we can document the information and make sure that resolutions that are completed aren't lost to the system.
Right, yes. Okay, well, I was just sort of trying to get it into context for that second one, which is the purchase of 2 new vehicles. I was just wondering if the second vehicle, which is described as a pool vehicle, it should be, whether that second vehicle has been purchased.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Churchill. I can confirm both vehicles have now been purchased, and the Chamber approved a capital purchase limit of $165,000. $115,000 for the 2 vehicles, and the purchase of those vehicles has come in under budget.
Thank you. Thanks for that. But I think if we can have those things removed from the register as they're completed, it would make more sense for us reading.
Makes sense. Noted. I think we can introduce an archive tab.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further? Thank you, Mr. Warner. Nothing further? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Under item 8 is the officers' reports requiring a decision. 8.1 is the long-term financial management plan. Is a recommendation. I have it as page 34, but I stand to be corrected. Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I move that council adopt the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council long-term financial plan 2026 to 2036 as attached to the attachments to the agenda.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Churchill. Councillor Young, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Madam Mayor, briefly, we need a long-term financial management plan. We have to know where we're going. Some bridges were going to be replaced, but we didn't have the money from a depreciation reserve. We applied for a grant, one bridge in the area where I live, as talked of earlier on. It wasn't successful. We have to fund these things, and unfortunately, it means that sometimes lots of cash have to be put to one side, seemingly not spent for quite a period of time, and then suddenly all at once. So I urge that we adopt the plan as it is currently prepared. No doubt it will have to be changed as events change, but I urge its adoption. It's nice to have this council working without having to have the local government directorate give us improvement directions to make certain we've got enough money to pay things as they fall due.
I think it was remiss of me not to welcome Ms Walters to this agenda item. Ms Walters is online. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to comment on this?
Just to say that this is part of our legislative obligations, and it's a large part of our legislative obligations, and I'm pleased that we've got a team of people who can make this happen, and I believe they've done it very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments in relation to the long-term financial management plan? Nothing further. The motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. Thank you. Agenda item 8.2 is the marina loan. There is a recommendation on this one. Councillor Churchill, thank you.
I move that council repay TasCorp loan S116 for the marina in full on its maturity date in May 2026.
Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor Simons, thank you. Again, I welcome Ms Walters to this agenda item online. Thank you. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to say that the officer's comments and report cover this really well. We are fortunate enough to be in a situation where we can do this through our cash reserves, and it's going to, I think, place us in a little bit better space in the longer term. And also it's removing or increasing our capacity for further loans or more easily in the future by getting rid of this one, which is 870,000 that we can manage now. Thank you, and thanks to the team.
Yeah, I agree. Further comment?
Any other questions or comments in relation to the repayment of the loan?
Yes, I concur with
Councillor Gregson, please. Councillor Edwards indicated that he wishes to speak.
No, I just think it's a fantastic thing the council have done in the whole marine development, and it's been the backbone of the Tri-Bunna community for a long time. And I think that to have now signed off it and paid it off early is just a credit to all involved.
Thank you. Councillor Gregson now.
I'm just going to comment very shortly that I'd like to concur with Councillor Churchill's comments and the very good work done by Mrs. Walters.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions in relation to it? The motion, all those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. And item 8.3 is the Wellington Mountain Bike Trail Report. There is a recommendation. Note that Miss Walters has left the meeting at 3:02. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I'll move that Council 1 endorse the Wellington Forest Mountain Bike Trail Business Case July 2025 and to approve the Chief Executive Officer to enter Glamorgan Spring Bay Council into a memorandum of understanding Wellington Forest Mountain Bike Trail with Sorell Council.
Thank you, Mr. Seconder. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to the motion?
I'll reserve. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Councillor Young, then Councillor Edwards, then Councillor Gregson. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I think this forest ride has got a lot of merit. But looking at the memorandum of understanding, I've got some concerns with it. It's a difficult matter because it's I suppose you could call it a joint venture with Sorell. Sorell has the running of the show. Each council is meant to bear its own costs, which is appropriate. But we go along in accord with Sorell's pace and incur expenses at our end, more or less as decided by Sorell. We can say, no, we don't want this expense, but we won't have someone dedicated to keep track of it all. And what worries me about it is that it might incur the council in an open-ended liability. Not only should we withdraw, and I don't think we should withdraw from the, I suppose you could call it, trial analysis, but we could incur expenses that we don't expect to incur, and we could get liability if we did withdraw of quite substantial sums. Because if we did withdraw, we'd have to pay back the expenses that the lead counsel, Sorell, incurred in the investigation and the carrying out. Now, I have a lot of faith in the officer at Sorell that prepared this along with legal advice memorandum. But the open-ended liability is what worries me. There are a couple of minor things. There are terms in the agreement that you're not quite sure what it means. For instance, on page 3, it says agency. We don't know what agency. As I've said to someone recently, my grandfather was a manufacturer's agent,
Councillor
and he
Young,
was the
please.
agent for Palaka shirts, and he had an agency, but I
Councillor
don't
Young.
think it means this.
Councillor Young,
Yeah,
please discuss the matter at,
I'm trying to explain what I
but you
mean.
don't need to introduce information about your family. Agencies relate to state government
It doesn't
agencies.
say it,
I know it doesn't say it, but
It
that's what they
doesn't
relate
say
to. So
and you've got to guess
you've
what
only
it
got
means.
you've only got a couple more minutes.
Oh,
Councillor
that's
Young.
right. Well, if I can't explain why it's defective, does that mean I'll have to vote against it? What is RFT? What's a joint RFT? That's on, I think the fifth
Request
page.
for tender.
What?
Request for tender.
Doesn't say it. You've got to guess at it. What does it say? What does partner mean in item 6?
What does what?
Partner, PARTNER. There's no partner in this document. There's no partnership. The Sorel can't pledge our credit, so it's not our partner. What is it all about? And the people that drew this have to think about it a bit, and it hasn't been, whoever drew it didn't give it adequate thought. And I've got reservations about it. I might vote for it, but it worries me.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Councillor Gregson, then Mr. Shaw, can you answer that for Councillor Young?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Given there is likely to be good interest and strong interest in this matter, if I could refer to each matter as it arises, just so we don't lose any of it. Thank you, Councillor Young, for your questions. They're valid questions. I might start from your last one first in relation to definitions partner and RFT, the use of acronyms. Yes, it would be standard process or protocol for acronyms to be typed out in full.
It's nice if we know what it means when you look at it.
That's an entirely reasonable request, and if according to the agenda paper supporting this MOU, if it is approved and endorsed by council and carried forward, it does provide me with as the CEO with the capacity to negotiate minor amendments to the MOU in agreement with the CEO of Sorel Council. So those are matters that I can attend to. In relation to your question around the definition of partner, I'll draw your attention to the fact that almost every single piece of legislation and regulation enforced at both the state and national level includes terms that are not defined.
They've got to make sense though.
In the term, not every word used in every regulatory piece of legislation or whatever is defined in every piece of legislation. That is fact. So this is entirely consistent with regulations and acts and the way they are drafted and interpreted. So I'm happy to take that on board as an open comment. In terms of coming back to the start of your concerns around Sorel running the show, the MOU actually provides a highly scripted governance framework. It's a level of governance this council is unfamiliar with. It actually provides a very robust framework for decision making. This is a framework designed to take the risk out of all future decision making. That's its specific purpose. The comments around Sorel Council running the show, look, I just don't agree with. They have been really open and stated they are the lead agency, and to be fair, if they weren't the lead
I object to that.
we wouldn't be in this position we're in now. We should be thankful for them. I would draw your attention to the governance arrangements in here. Section 4.3 of the Project Control Group. Sorel Council is the chair, but we are a member of the Project Control Group. And there is also the advisory group as well, section 4.4, of which we are a member. So I think it's an improper assertion to make and a statement to make that the Sorel Council is in fact running the show. The MOU clearly describes and defines that it's not Surreal Council running the show. It's also quite clear that the MOU doesn't bind the council to any further costs, nil. Any costs incurred by council in relation to this project will be approved by this council in the chamber with funds made available by a dedicated budget approved by this council. Surreal Council can only approve budgets to expend on land within the municipality. They can't approve works on our land. They can't procure the services of consultants to have those works undertaken on our land without the consent of this council. That's just fact. Our liabilities in that sense are limited. I'm not really sure where the risk is for council in that we remain in full control of all works on council land and all monies expended on GSB lands. If there's a specific question around the liabilities, I'm happy to take that separately and chase them up, because I am really keen to ensure that we address your concerns, noting your experience in this field.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. I will go Councillor Gregson with respect next, Councillor.
Right, thank you. With regard, after 16 years, the Surreal Council finally come to the board, Spring Bay Council, and it there's a lot of landowners here, but private landowners, you've got SST or forestry, parks and wildlife, everything. I find it quite inconceivable that they just come out now without any contingencies in this MOU. For instance, I'll give you an example. If a landholder refuses to allow that trail to go through, there's going to be a real cost there to divert it if it does continue. So I find it quite unbelievable that they haven't taken that into consideration after 16 years. There's a high likelihood that this trail will be opposed, no question. There's an assumption that there's going to be a grant of at least $1 million. That's an assumption, that's not a guarantee. That's also in the MOU. And it hasn't, there's no cons here in this report. It's all pros. So you're getting a one-sided view of this project. The trail, 70% of the trail is within the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council, and it will be proportionally apportioned. So we'll be paying 70% in comparison to Surreal's 30%, and they're the lead, taking the lead. So there's a comparison with Derby. Derby's a relatively isolated place, whereas this trail is relatively close to Hobart, so it won't have that effect. And in Derby, there was a huge demand for housing, and that put up the housing price. But the people that lived there and wanted to live there originally, they simply can't afford the housing now, which is a rather sad effect. But that's one.
Councillor Gregson, I'm not quite sure what the relevance is with that. Would you please ask your question?
Yes. No. It's just, and I'm just getting the context that there was a reference in the report with housing, and it would have the effect of lifting up housing prices, and therefore it would basically increase housing. There's no evidence for that whatsoever. So my question is, I find the report really unbalanced, and it doesn't give the cons, which is really is a.
It doesn't give what? Sorry.
It doesn't give the cons. The argues against. It's got the forwards, the pros and cons, and it gives a lot about the pros, but I can't see any cons in it. So the report here is, I find, to be totally biased, really. So we're only getting one point of view and not the alternative. So I have great reservations. I think if the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council wanted a trail and in better financial times, they could do it alone without Surreal Council, because Surreal Council only 30% of this project.
With great respect, Councillor Gregson, is this not the council law? The council is not the developer in this.
Yeah. So who is the developer then?
it's an organisation, but Mr. Shaw, you
Through
might have to
Madam
help me
Mayor,
out here.
that's to be determined via the MOU.
Yeah, okay.
So we don't have in the MOU who the developer is. So,
It's the idea of the MOU.
yeah,
Sorry.
yes, I know, but, so,
Okay.
yeah, yes,
You've made
no,
your point.
there's a lot of questions here.
You've made your question. You've made your point, councillor Gregson. Councillor Edwards. Sorry, councillor Edwards, just a sec. Mr. Shaw can provide some responses for that.
Through Madam Mayor, yeah, thank you, councillor Gregson for the question. Yeah, in relation to the no cons, yeah, it's a noted observation. I guess in drafting that, very much a glass half full approach to the drafting. The cons, I guess, are documented through the business case. So the business case is drafted by world internationally recognised consultants that specialise in mountain bike parks. So I guess the cons are embedded within their independent and quite objective assessment.
But it's not in this report here, what we've got.
The report, the attachments.
No, I'm not referring to that. I'm just referring to here, what we've received here. There's no cons.
Well,
It's in the agenda.
The con, and I've been really quite open and upfront, I think, and you have picked it up, is that the business case has identified an annual operating cost estimated, at this very early stage of $180,000 to $200,000 a year, and those costs would be apportioned pro rata. I've deliberately brought that out of the business case and put it into the agenda paper because that is the biggest con, and I've brought that to your attention deliberately. Outside that, there aren't many cons that need to be addressed. So I'd take your point though. In terms of the multiple landowners and the risks around that and the contingencies, the fact there aren't any contingencies, it's a bit of a catch-22, I guess, that it's taken many years to get to a point where there's enough head of steam around this project for people to say, yes, let's go. Let's have a greater look at this. Let's have a greater crack at, I guess, moving this project forward. And I guess the best signal for that was the State Liberal Government's $50,000 commitment to the business case. That was an independent, objective business case to get us to this point. What we need now and what all stakeholders need now is a robust framework in which the next tier of conversations and discussions can be had. So up until now, it's been stakeholders having conversations, I guess, in an informal capacity. What's really important is that through this, those conversations are now had in a formal framework. So everything's documented, everything's categorised, everything can be tracked. As a landowner, not me, but speaking on behalf of a landowner, I think that would be in their greatest interest to know that this is a formal project now with really strict governance protocols in place and risk management processes. So your observations are quite right. There could be a couple of key landholders here that say no go. The project will fall flat. That's entirely possible, entirely plausible. But that in itself isn't grounds, in my opinion, to not enter into an MOU to allow those conversations to be had in a formal setting. And the final element of your suite of questions, Councillor Gregson, related to grant funding, that's the absolute goal here, that the construction and operation of the proposed mountain bike trail shouldn't come at an increased cost to either council. The idea is that all works required under the MOU will be entirely grant funded. That's the overarching objective. Now, the extent to which we're successful in obtaining grant funding or not is a different question. If we are, how excellent. If we're not, that will come back to council to say, there's a body of work, this is what it looks like, these are the approximate costs, and we would then come and seek council approval for a budget to go down that path.
The village rainforest and the upkeep with regard to the maintenance, that's huge because in the rainforest, hence the term.
I totally agree. And look, I'm a mountain biker. I'll happily declare that. And I've just spent 3 days at Derby, and even staying in a caravan with 5 people, I spent over $1,000 in 3 days. It's not a cheap sport. It's an amazing sport. And it's a very interesting venture for this council. But I think the really key thing around this MOU is it provides a protection mechanism for all parties to move forward with a clear set of rules. And based on the legal advice that we have received and through our council have received, it also provides sufficient protection measures for either party to drop out with good reason and with minimal liabilities, financial liabilities in particular associated with that decision.
That's what I've just discussed in the isolation of Derby in comparison to the ice proxy.
Councillor Gregson, hang on, please. Have you got another question?
No, it's fine.
So,
Thank you.
what I will add to this has been on the table with the South East Regional Development Association, which this council is part of now for a number of years. And we have had the mountain bike people, the people who were promoting it here at a workshop. They gave us I think they've been to a couple of workshops.
For my time.
Pardon?
For my time.
Before your time, absolutely. It has been on the table for a long time. It's taken a very long time to get to this point because of the process that the developer or the proposer has actually gone through to get to it. I think it's a good outcome, given that back here somewhere 8 or 10 years ago it was first proposed. Councillor Edwards.
A bit of a comment, a bit of information. I've known two of the proponents of this just as a friendship thing since it started. And so I was interested in it 10, 15 years ago, where they showed me some of the track they'd done, which was incredibly simple. What I liked about what they were trying to do, which may allay some of Councillor Gregson's questions, is they were trying to have like a black run for your experienced cyclists, also something where you could go along with mum, dad and the kids. And they were trying to make it very to suit all abilities in push bikes, which I thought was a good thing. They were hoping to get the Hobart Airport trade, people coming over, so which was a benefit of being in this area. They could come up here, do the Wellington Trail, go up to Coles Bay, which would all benefit our municipality. The chances they initially wondered if they could finish it in our place. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to have well-meaning, non-rural people in Lycra peddling around my place telling me there's a dead roo or trapped sheep. So as far as any concerns about the conflict of interest, I can assure you there is zero. The big monkey in the room, which isn't addressed anywhere, is, and this was the monkey in the room 15 years ago, the Wellington Road is not sealed. They needed it sealed because the vast majority of the track is within spitting distance of Wellington Road. It's 20 to 50 metres in, and they need the access, sealed access for ambulances, for support vehicles, for when the kids start crying because they're tired and hungry and they want to get off. So until the Wellington Road is sealed, not going to happen. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. No questions in relation to it?
No,
Question?
just a comment.
Deputy Mayor, I didn't give you the opportunity to speak earlier, so.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, I'll be supporting the memorandum. I think it's a terrific thing for the Morgan Spring Bay to be involved in. Just on the Wellington Road, it may well be a catalyst to actually get that road sealed. In conjunction with doing this project, it just might be the one thing where it has to happen in conjunction with it. I don't see the risks that Councillor Young was talking about in signing the MOU. I think it's a base. I think it's a great way to go forward with it. It's a toe in the water. It's early stages, and we're not committing to funding anything. It's all grant funded. It's a good project in that it brings good visitors to our municipality. They're usually bike riders are pretty environmentally aware. It's a light touch to put that trail in. It's a big trail. 70 k's in a straight line is a two-nighter, a one night trip, a 2-day ride probably for a lot of people. So there's a lot of business can be generated off the back of this. And as I say, it's early stages. Can't see any risk to council for me. I just hope council will support it.
Councillor Walker, would you like to close debate?
Is it on?
Everybody has spoken. Councillor Churchill, did I miss you?
You didn't miss me. I just hadn't.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I see this whole thing as theoretically a great opportunity, and I think it's one that we need to put our toe in the water now. It has been around for a long, long time, but I think it's also good that we've listened to especially Councillor Young and Councillor Gregson, who warned us of potential financial difficulties down the track. They're there. So, you know, when I vote to support this, which I will do, I also am recognising that councils of the future will be or may be impacted negatively by this. I am glad that in that MOU that there is a clause, I think it is, that we can pull out of it with 2 months' notice or something like that.
Right.
That might rescue any council in the future that sees there's a disaster coming. So, you know, I think it's something that could be really good for this community if it comes off well, with the potential for a financial disaster. When you start talking in terms of consultants, $50,000 doesn't go a long way. The potential costs that could arise after a couple of years of research will leave that $50,000 a long way away, and someone is going to have to fund those extras. So yes, I support it in principle. I will vote for the MOU, in favour of the MOU, but I don't guarantee that I'm making the right decision.
Thank you, thank you, Councillor Churchill. Councillor Walker, would you like to close debate?
Is everyone finished?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, I
Thank
believe
you.
so.
You've called it. Look, I agree with. I listened to Councillor Young and Councillor Gregson's concerns. However, nothing ventured, in my opinion, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And this is probably the last one. The last report before we got this one was in 2023. So that's 3 years ago. And prior to that, it was probably another two or so presentations to council. So it's been a long time coming. And I am secure with this MOU in the fact that there is a way out. And Oliver Strickland gave a very good talk, in my opinion, to us councillors, or presentation, I should say, at the workshop early in the month. And as I said, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So
thank you.
It'll be a good thing for the community.
Before I put the motion is as the officer's recommendation. But I note that the MOU requires the mayor's signature. This motion does not provide approval for the mayor to sign it. Mr. Sanderson, can I get some governance advice from you? To include the mayor in this motion, could it be done with just the approval of the mover and the seconder, so that the second part would read, approve the chief executive officer or the mayor and chief exec or acting chief executive officer, whatever, to enter Glamorgan Springbank Council into an MOU. So with the mover and the seconder, have any objection to that?
Absolutely. No.
Thank you, Councillor Walker. So the motion will now be that Council endorse the Wylangta Forest Mountain Bike Trail business case July 2025, and to approve the Mayor and Chief Executive Officer to enter Glamorgan Springbank Council into a memorandum of understanding the Wylangta Forest Mountain Bike Trail with Surrey Council.
No, just add to acting chief.
Yes, acting, thank you. Acting Chief Executive Officer. Thank you, Councillor Walker. So on that note, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Gregson is against. The motion is carried. Thank you. Agenda item 8.4 is the draft vehicle policy. That agenda item has been withdrawn in accordance with Regulation 10 of the meeting regulations. Agenda item 8.5 is the draft driveway construction and maintenance policy. Mr. Sanderson, thank you. There is a recommendation, I think it's page 44 or somewhere around there. Recommendation, councillor Churchill, thank you.
I move that council adopt the draft driveway construction and maintenance policy.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Seconder? Is there a seconder to the, thank you, councillor Gregson, thank you. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to comment?
I'm not qualified to question the engineer's report, and I totally trust the work that's been put into this. I have no problems.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
I just have a question for Mr. Sanderson. Is this a standard type document that other municipalities use?
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor, and in fact, this is a long time coming for this council, I would suggest, in that need to keep up with the municipal standards for the entire state.
Yes.
The developers and such are used to this elsewhere. It should be consistent.
Thank you. Councillor Gregson?
Well, through the mayor, I think the deputy mayor's just stolen my thunder. So what? I'd just like to direct my question to Mr. Sanderson. What templates in particular?
Councillor Gregson, that has no relevance to this matter. The draft driveway construction and maintenance policy is being presented by officers.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what template was used.
Oh, well, I thought other councils. Well, that's what we're doing, isn't it? We're basically copying other councils' template to enforce our own. So,
Councillor Gregson, that is an assumption. The local government association does provide a number of suggested policies and templates. Yes, other councils do as well, and they freely provide them to this council and each other.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter whose template was used. Mr. Sanderson,
if I may explain, it's not a template as such. These are standard engineering drawings that have been in use for many, many years. They used to be all over the place throughout the state. It's taken many years to have one set of municipal drawings for the entire state to help developers, so you're not having different standards every municipality you go to. It's not copying a template. It's using approved municipal drawings. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Gregson?
No.
Thank you. Are there any other questions in relation to the draft driveway construction and maintenance policy? Nothing further? Motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Mr. Sanderson, agenda item 8.6. Are you staying for this one? Thank you. Draft councillor expenses reimbursement and provision of facilities policy. There is a recommendation, I believe, page 46.
47.
Do that. Oh, hold on. I think the numbering I have might be just a little bit different.
Page 42.
Deputy Mayor.
47.
I will move that council adopt the draft councillor expenses reimbursement and provisions of facilities policy.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Churchill, thank you. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to it?
Yes. Are we comfortable, through you, Madam Mayor, that I believe the $50 allowance stays as is, and then if the council had out-of-pocket expenses up to the $140, they would make a separate claim for those expenses? That's the intent?
Yes.
Yep. And would that claim need to be in the form of an invoice, or would it be a request?
It is there's a form, the reimbursement form. So it's just a standard item, just like any other expense that, as for example, Councillor Young did with his. It was a reimbursement form that was filled in appropriately and approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gregson.
Well, I think Councillor Simon's also stolen the thunder here. With regard to, I've retained my allowance, it's not an allowance, it's just what was provided by council. So I assume that that's still going to continue. Others opted for the $50 reimbursement or allowance. When Councillor Young submitted his original motion, he said that it was an allowance. That's incorrect. It was a reimbursement. So, hang on.
Point of order.
Yes. What's your
It's
point?
not correct.
What's your point of order?
Point of order is that he should quote the motion rather than his paraphrase of it.
Oh, it's still not the motion, because it did say in the original motion the allowance. Sorry.
Point of order, Madam Mayor, is the councillor quoting from the motion or is he making it up?
Councillor Young, I'm probably as confused as you are in this point of order. So,
Yes.
Councillor Gregson, Councillor Young, first of all, I'm not going to accept your point of order at this stage.
Right.
I will ask Councillor Gregson to please clarify what you are asking
Yeah, that's right. No, it's just that
without paraphrasing something. Okay.
That's right. So it's a reimbursement here that we've got up to $140. Anyone who exceeds the $50 amount will basically put in with receipts and expenses for a reimbursement of those funds above $50.
Councillor
Yes.
Gregson, Mr. Sanderson, would you like to try and clarify this, please?
The big thing is that in response to Councillor Young's motion and the new draft, the new general regulations, this policy has been updated, and the fact of the 140, it is changing everything from an allowance, which is not correct, to be a reimbursement. Okay, across the board through this, it does not refer to any allowance. It's all about reimbursement. The 140, in understanding what council was doing in its February meeting, was to indicate that councillors could, if they so had the expense, ask for reimbursement up to a maximum of $140. To do so, as Councillor Young did, is to fill up that request on the reimbursement form, which is then approved by the CEO. Okay.
But before the upgrade, was it referred to as an allowance before that or not?
The past policy called it an allowance. The motion of Councillor Young called it a reimbursement. The new policy calls it a reimbursement in accordance with the regulations.
Yeah, so the reimbursement is the correct term.
Correct.
Allowance.
That's correct.
That's
yes.
And also, I assume that the council will retain the older one that I still use, and it's only about $20 or something like that.
That's also in line in the policy as it stands, and the new policy is.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I have some concerns with the policy because it purports to describe what the Act obliges council to do, but it has imposed incorrectly, and I'm trying to find the exact page, a limit on the statute, and the statute can't be limited in its effect by council decision. The statute, and I have it open, if I just get to the page. Just take a minute to find the page. Thought I had it here already. It has a provision in the policy with the word exclusively, which is not to be found in the Act of Parliament, which obliges the council to reimburse reasonable expenses. it's a right to councillors to make a claim for reasonable expenses. And the general manager has the right to decide whether the expenses claimed were reasonable. For instance, if there's some expense which the general manager says is not reasonable, provided it's outside the provision of the Act, he can refuse to allow it. But council has not got the right to say that the expenses claimed have to be expenses that exclusively relate to council business. Because if that was the case and we drove, and Councillor Churchill drives a long way, not as far as the deputy mayor, but from Dolphin Sands to here and stops at Mum and Me for an ice cream, his trip down here is not exclusively for council purposes. And there is no right for this council to limit the benefits given to elected members by the Act of Parliament and the regulations. So I think if the policy removes the word exclusive, I'm just trying to find it in the printed section. It's in the printed one, about page 188, I think. Yes, policy item 2.1, which says exclusively in our expense policy is incorrect. It's not allowed to be put in there, and thus I'll vote against accepting the policy because of the word exclusive.
Councillor, Mr. Sanderson, are you able to put some
I can respond.
clarity around that?
That obviously that was not the intent. The intent is to follow what the Act says. The Act says payment of expenses incurred by councillors in carrying out the duties of office. That's what it's meant to apply.
But it doesn't say exclusive, and there's a big difference.
You're correct. That could easily be taken out. Those two words can be taken out. Absolutely.
Well, if they're out,
yes, that
I would support the policy.
Yeah, I totally concur that the intent was exactly to be following what it said in the Act. Your interpretation expands on that.
It doesn't say exclusive in the Act. I've got it here.
No, I've got the Act here too. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't say that. I agree. It says expenses incurred by council in taking out the duties. So,
reasonable expenses.
Yes, that's okay. That totally understand.
Otherwise, if exclusive was deleted,
please allow Mr. Sanderson to respond to your question.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
Yes. Now your proposal is totally understood and supported.
Okay. Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, we'll substitute that word with substantial or
take it out,
yeah,
take
take it
them out.
out, whatever.
Take it, or remove it altogether, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Any other questions or comments in relation to the expenses reimbursement and provision of facilities? Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
That's as amended, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
As amended, Madam
As
Mayor.
amended. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Under item 8.7 is the event support grant application from the Spring Bay RSL. There is a recommendation.
Thank you. I have an extra word to put in here. I'll move that council retrospectively approves the event support grant for Spring Bay RSLs of $1,000 to assist with the Anzac Day service and the associated barbecue and guns breakfast.
Seconded, Councillor Young. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to it?
Yeah, I just wanted to put that retrospectively in because the event has actually happened. And whilst I may be introducing something else that on the date it was a fantastic service. and there was heaps of people there. So
We were, as I understand it, there were over 500 people attended the dawn service and the 11 a.m. service combined. It was an absolutely massive service in attendance, going up every year. And Councillor Churchill?
I just wanted to make a point about this. I mean, I have no objection to them having the money retrospectively. That's fine. However, I think a lot of the organisations that are asking for these grants are leaving it to very late. Now, I anticipate that Anzac Day will still be on the 25th of April next year.
Yes.
That's a long way ahead.
Yes.
I would hope that we can actually train people over time to start getting these in well ahead so that we can consider them properly. Not that I have even a small objection to this one, but I just think it's a matter of process. We need to start to make people aware of this.
Mr. Shaw has some information about
Through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Churchill. Yeah, really good observation. The administration is currently doing a body of work in this space. It's been recognised by many within the executive. There's a lot of time consumed in each ordinary council meeting going through grant processes, and the organisations that are well accustomed to the process routinely receive funds, and we are conscious that there's other providers and other potential benefactors within the community which aren't necessarily aware of the funding opportunities. And we're looking at opportunities to increase the efficiency of this administrative process through the OCM. Some of the options we're looking at is maybe a couple of intakes each year. So we actually outwardly market these event and grant funding opportunities to the community. We actually go out there and really try to find the new activities that are worthy of consideration. And so we have a 2 intakes per year with X amount of the budget made available. Plus, we also retain a discretionary amount of funds for matters that might, or events that pop up in a reactive sort of nature. So these, it's a really good question and statement made by Councillor Churchill and things we're looking at.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments in relation to this matter? Nothing further. The motion, all those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Item 9.1 is councillors' motions with notice that this matter has been brought forward from the previous council meeting. I'm noting that the original motion with notice should have been provided in this agenda. There is a response there. I'm not.
Read it for the benefit.
Sorry.
Did you want to read the original motion?
No, that's okay. I think. As far as process is concerned, I am unsure of where we go now because Councillor Churchill's matter is not actually being dealt with as the notice of motion that was deferred. I know we've got a response in there, but I probably need to seek some advice from Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, it's a difficult matter because it's a notice of motion. It should have been in the minutes as a motion.
Absolutely.
And now I'm not sure I'd support it if it was in the minutes as a motion. But just because I support something or don't support something doesn't mean to say it should or shouldn't be in the minutes. As a matter of fairness and procedure, that these sorts of things, and I was a victim of an event where a general manager some years ago refused to put something in the minute, at least in the agenda as a motion, and caused me a great deal of agony. And I don't think that it's within the general manager or CEO's position to decide whether a motion should or shouldn't go in. If it's properly brought to his attention in the required manner in accordance with the rules, it should be as a motion. Now, I don't know whether Councillor Churchill wishes to proceed with the matter or not, but that's my view about it.
Councillor Churchill, as the chair of the meeting, I am reluctant to deal with this matter in this process. I don't believe it offers correct procedural fairness in your notice of motion. My suggestion would be that we withdraw 9.1 and review it again or defer it to the next council meeting where the report is produced in its entirety in accordance with the matter.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. If I may.
Yes, absolutely, please.
Look, yeah, I think there's a few things we need to look at here. I think clearly as Councillor Young has stated, this was, it is what it is. It's a motion. So therefore, it's a motion for council to vote
to deal with.
And that's how it should have been dealt with.
Yeah.
This is a lesson in governance. We don't need to be making these sorts of obvious mistakes. And it's important that we get these things right. Yeah. That means as much to me as the content of this motion.
As I recall, this was deferred to this meeting. So it's, in my view, at least, rightly or wrongly, I think it should have appeared in this agenda in its entirety.
Yes.
With the thing.
So I have no problem with it being deferred to the.
On that basis, could I have a procedural motion that the matter be deferred to?
I move that the matter be deferred to next meeting.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Is there a second? Councillor Gregson, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Deputy Mayor? In favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you. There are new petitions at agenda item 10. Agenda item 11 is councillor's question time. There are new questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. There are 11.2 questions with notice. There are none. 11.3 is questions without notice. I will remind councillors that this is a question time. It is not a time for statements to be made. Councillor Churchill.
Yes, and I'm stating this as a question.
Yes.
Would it be appropriate for council through just a letter of appreciation to acknowledge the work that Councillor McQueenie did when she was a councillor and is continuing to do beyond there around the Grants Commission decisions and ultimately the apparent benefit that we're going to get for that work. I think it would be appropriate, but I'd just like to ask the council for their approval.
If councillors have no objection, I'm more than happy to write a letter on their behalf.
Thank you.
I did thank Ms McQueenie for her service to council when I acknowledged her resignation, but I'm happy to do a more formal letter if council is of a mind to want that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, question. Are you or the executive, that's you and the deputy, going to write to the Grants Commission nominating a person to attend at the meeting of the Grants Commission when they consider?
Mr. Shaw, can I defer that to you as a question, because operationally, Mr. Shaw has been dealing with the State Grants Commission.
Well, I'm happy that Mr. Shaw does it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thanks for the question, Councillor Young. There's been a number of emails circulated to all councillors stating the position of the administration that the draft decision from the State Grants Commission around base grant was a really welcome decision. It was a decision I think all elected members can probably agree was slightly unexpected in terms of the quantum and the improved financial position that council has benefited from, and the position that I've communicated in writing to councillors and received no questions about is that on the basis of having what I would define as a good win, that we do not proceed as was previously intended to have a meeting with the State Grants Commission. The purpose of that meeting was to meet with them to request the Federal Grants Commission give the State Grant Commission approval to review their methodology. My position that I've communicated to elected members is I don't think that is necessary at this point in time, and that we'll revisit that for 2027. I've received no response from councillors objecting to that position.
Further to that, I just don't want us to waive our rights to make the Grants Commission give it to once over now or in the future. I'm quite happy with a letter which I couldn't print out at home, which I now have got here, with the lifting of the tied grant to $500,000. It's a damn good start, but it's only a start, and I don't want them to think, oh, they've 500 will do them. They've shut up. I just want us to reserve our rights. That's why I think there might be some merit in having someone to attend, not to knock back the offer.
Yes, sorry, Madam Mayor. Just in response to that, I have spoken with Treasury today and thank them very much for their revised position and draft revised assessment. During that conversation, there was no expressed desire or need for a follow-up to revise. Based on my knowledge of Treasury and having worked at Treasury, it would be my expectation, and a reasonable one at that they would remain receptive to any request for a meeting from the council at any point in the calendar. It need not be tied to a timeline as put forward by a previous question without notice by a former councillor.
I thought, I'm sorry to go on. I thought the Grants Commission did have a time limit. If it has no time limit, there's not an urgency. But if there is a time limit, perhaps there is. I have nothing else to say.
True, Councillor Young. Yes, there's a cycle, but there's nothing to say that communications between two parties can't occur at any day outside of that cycle. I don't believe us not engaging with the State Grant Commission within a finite period is detrimental to our future financial outlook. I believe that through strong relationships with Treasury, we will have an open door and a seat at the table to have the right negotiations, the right conversations at the right time.
It's a matter of judgment, Madam Mayor. I stand for the judgment of our Executive Director. CEO.
Whilst I'm also happy to go with the judgment of our CEO, but is there any harm in sitting in a seat for an hour if it's just a smile and say yes and no? I'm quite happy to sit in a seat for an hour and I don't know when it is, but hopefully, and smile and say yes and no at the appropriate time if it helps. I do understand Councillor Young's point that we don't want to look like we're happy and we don't look like we're disengaging from the process, even though we're not. It might be just a bit of a, nice thing to do, for want of a better word. Maybe not entirely necessary, but by your delving into it. But if it involves me sitting with ex-Councillor McQueenie for an hour and nodding and waving, I'm quite happy to do it if it helps.
Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick response to your comments there, Councillor Edwards. We do also need to be cognizant that these are essentially council matters. These are matters for council to address with Treasury. These are not matters to be led by members of the public on council's behalf.
She has had approval to do it from the appropriate bodies, as I understand.
I don't believe that's the case.
Okay.
Not as a member of the public, no.
Sorry, Councillor Ricketson. I was just checking something in relation to this whole matter. Yes.
That's fine. With the State Grants Commission, was it true by simple majority of councillors, that is, that councillors present, that it was determined that Councillor McQueenie drafted a letter to the State Grants Commission with regard to cost adjusters, and that was approved?
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have the motion in front of me at the moment. Councillor McQueen is no longer a councillor at the council.
Yeah, no. Just that it was decided by the council's president. There was no motion that it was just basically a hearsay that she would present, having all the knowledge that she's had, that she would draft a letter with regard to that on behalf of the council, and every council president did agree. I can't see anything wrong with we've got nothing, so therefore we can have another go at the cost adjusters and see how it goes. We can only win on this.
So can I just clarify something, Mr. Shaw? Former Councillor McQueenie said today that a Teams meeting has been arranged. Has it been arranged?
Through Madam Mayor, I'm not aware of any Teams meeting being arranged nor a commitment to make one.
So on the 17th of April, we received information from Treasury. The Commission considers that it is up to each council to decide who prepares its submission or submissions. However, each document will need to be submitted by your council as a council submission. Now that relates to the 30th of April timeframe. Thank you. If a Teams meeting is proposed to discuss the discussion paper, the Commission considers that a council employee or elected member should be present. I am not aware of any Teams meeting that's been organised. I don't know what meeting Ms McQueenie was referring to today.
It was proposed. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It was a proposed meeting.
So
and
we haven't got this meeting on the 17th of April. We still hadn't had a date for it. We were talking with Ms McQueenie about doing a submission by the 30th of April.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest and say I'm quite unclear about where we go in this, because to the best of my knowledge, there is no meeting.
Just to provide some clarification here, Madam Mayor, there's two elements. So there was the discussion paper that the State Grants Commission has released. That's with a response due by the 30th of April. That was largely the motivation for the State Grants Commission's roadshow. That whole discussion paper, was actually not addressed during their workshop with the council, because the council basically used that meeting to prosecute its case more broadly in terms of the allocation. Council has at no point made its intention clear to submit or to make a submission in response to the base cost adjuster discussion paper. That's never been agreed to. What was agreed to at that meeting was that Council would, I would work with Councillor McQueenie to write to the Commission to request that the State Grants Commission writes to the Federal Grants Commission seeking approval to revise their methodology. That was the key outcome of the workshop with the State Grants Commission. Since that time, and through no further intervention of the Council, the State Grants Commission has released their draft proposal, which has improved Glamorgan Spring Bay's base allowance to the tune of $260,000. Based on a better than expected outcome, a decision was made that we would not then seek to write to the State Grants Commission seeking a review of the methodology.
Just with the Teams meeting, that Teams meeting could constitute a submission.
It could what?
Could constitute a submission. If you had the Teams meeting, that could constitute a submission.
No, I don't believe so, Councillor Brixton. Not in this context, I don't think.
Yeah, but I've got it from good authority, it would.
And I received a response from Ms White. I wrote to Ms White as directed by this council to ask her to intervene with the federal treasurer. I did receive a response which I sent to all councillors. And as Mr. Shaw has rightfully said, we now have the outcome of our decision, which is an increase in our base grant. It might not be perfect, but it is an increase in our base grant. Churchill. Sorry, Councillor Edwards.
I just think that there is this gap. There's this 2 days that we've got left. Surely we can research whether that Teams meeting would be available to us. If we go into the next cycle, as the acting CEO has said, we're into the next cycle potentially, which leaves it till 2027 or whatever before we get any response to it. And we've got a councillor who's prepared to sit in the room with a person that I consider to be an expert in this area. And I think the evidence is that Councillor McQueenie, when she was councillor and still is, an expert in this area, and to act as our expert advice. I think that's what Councillor Edwards was referring to there. So if we could get that to happen, I cannot see a downside to that, but a lost opportunity if we don't make it happen. That concerns me more.
I concur with that.
I agree with that.
It's a protection, not a limit.
I think we should go ahead.
Just a second. Mr. Shaw, do you want to respond to that?
Through Madam Mayor, in response to Councillor Churchill, noted. So the timeline that we're talking about applies to the discussion paper. So this council has not at any point yet discussed the content of the discussion paper, therefore doesn't have a position to discuss with the State Grants Commission. I certainly don't have a position endorsed by the council to take to the State Grants Commission to discuss. So the question needs to be asked, what is the value of this proposed conversation? Now, if the chamber would like me as the acting CEO to have a meeting with the State Grants Commission to talk as was intended, to request a review of the methodology by the Federal Grants Commission, I'm entirely comfortable with that. But being requested to have a meeting around a discussion paper the council hasn't discussed and doesn't have a position on places me in a difficult position, and I think it is of no value.
If I may, I totally disagree. I can't see anything to be lost. I don't think that we need this to be a position that's necessarily taken by the CEO. We're a council group. I think most of us in the room support that, and it could be made to happen. I just don't see that we're losing anything by doing that.
What's the position, with all due respect, Councillor Churchill, that I'm taking to prosecute on your behalf?
I'm not asking you to take it to prosecute it. I'm asking that a councillor represent the council group with an expert to talk to them about these issues. We have no one in this room right now, who has the expertise to do that, including yourself, if I may say so. And we've been offered an opportunity here to take this in a window. Okay, we've missed the opportunity. Some of us have other parts to our life and we might have overlooked it, but it's, I think, an opportunity that we should not lose as a council. And it's the councillors' decision as a group to do this, surely.
And I concur, it'll do us no damage. And Councillor Edwards, it would give a very pleasant smile at the meeting. It'll do no damage to be there.
Can I ask a question? How would it be reported back to us? I think this is a coffee cup conversation that's going to happen by the sound of it. And I don't know what the deliverables are going to be, or potentially what we might agree to that we perhaps haven't discussed. I can see there's two sides to this. I want to go to this conversation, but equally, I'm just not sure how we would report back to council other than anecdotally.
Agree.
And I just don't know what the actions that come from it are, because it's not a formalised approach. I think the approach is what our acting CEO is saying, that we have to have a position on the methodology and then we can make an approach. I don't have a position on the methodology.
We haven't got enough information.
Yeah, I don't know.
To have a methodology, because we don't know the basis upon which they make the decision. The paper, I wrote an email about it, and we haven't done the preliminary work. But I think it'd do no damage if we turn up and say, look, we're here because council wants to keep a foot in the door. We like what you've done so far. We'll accept that, but we want to be able to see how you make the decisions for the next 2 or 3 years. I'll just leave it at that.
The only reason I said that I would, hopefully, I did say, be able, because I don't know what it is, turn up is because I think, yes, so they're giving us $500,000. What we do, we're still under half of anyone else. And I just hope that's not just, oh, we'll give them that and they can shut up. But I will, and it's cost me $50 and I haven't given that, I'll let you know, to the council Christmas fund. So you can all thank me later. 1 lemon squash each. If acting CEO Dick Shores thinks that the door isn't shut, I mean, we can still negotiate. I just don't want us to be pushed to a point of them saying we've given them $200,000, they've shut up, go away. Because still the methodology is still vehemently unfair. And if we have, and I'll accept your advice on it, CEO, whichever it is, if we still have the ability to argue about that methodology, and I still think that ex-councillor McQueenie should be involved in that process, even though she's next, I don't care if she's councillor or ex-councillor, personally couldn't care less. If she's got the knowledge, we're bloody stupid not to use it. That's, you know, and as you know, Councillor McQueenie and I disagreed on 90% of things, but on this, we don't. But if you think we still have the opportunity to argue the methodology and progress that forward, well, I'm happy to accept your more knowledge than mine.
The question methodology is very important.
Sorry, Councillor Gregson.
To question the methodology is very important here, and Councillor McQueenie has a knowledge second to none. So we've got nothing to lose, basically.
I'd like to hear CEO's response.
Sure, is there really anything lost if we do? I mean, is there anything? Yeah, no.
I understand it, but what are we going to argue?
I think that we have councillors for their position on this. It's really interesting and to get a good sort of spirited debate around this. I'm more than satisfied to speak with Treasury tomorrow to discuss their willingness to receive a letter from council along the lines of what was agreed to at the workshop. You know, effectively, would they entertain a letter from the council with a request to review the methodology? And I can confirm the timelines around that in terms of what they are willing to accept.
Yep.
I'm also happy to try to coordinate a Teams meeting for probably this Friday with Treasury and with member of the public, Carol McQueenie, and Councillor Edwards.
It's not going to happen on this Friday.
No.
But Councillor Edward, assisted by ex-councillor McQueen.
If the chamber would leave it with me, and I'm happy to reply all in written communication as to what I've organised.
Just give me a ring in case I miss it.
Chief Executive Officer, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Good result. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any further questions?
I haven't got a question.
Oh, if I do. Oh,
Sorry.
I haven't got a question. I just want to say thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions.
Councillor Rington?
Yeah, is the council aware that the in-kind support that council provide to events, no yellow top bins are provided? Why?
Sorry, run that by me again.
The in-kind support offered by council, in-kind support offered by council at events, the bins provided, the yellow bins, are not provided as part of the in-kind support. Could you tell me why?
It's what?
Mr. Sanderson, can you?
I don't know why they're not, but we can make sure they are in the future.
Yes, no, it's just,
No.
Okay,
no,
thank you. We'll take the question on notice.
Yes,
Councillor Gregson, tell me what your next
just
question.
brought to my attention and I thought I'd ask it
Okay.
here. And also, I also like to bring up my question here. Dolphin Sands Road, the allotment ID on roads, the numbering of the allotments on roads for identification for fire, so where they are, would that be considered by council as the markings of the allotments on the road, so to identify where they are?
What's the question, Madam Mayor?
It's about the numbering on Dolphin Sands Road, which I think would be the property owner's responsibility.
Would they put it on the road though? I mean, like actually on the surface of the road?
Yeah, I think a good
No, I don't think
red thing painted.
Yes.
I wouldn't think so.
4 metres by 4 metres and an arrow.
One at a time, please. So, Councillor Gregson, if I understand you correctly, you're asking for lot numbers to be painted on the road.
Yes.
I'm not sure that that is something that can be done. I remember getting into a lot of trouble a few years ago because I wanted some zigzag lines painted and it was not accepted. Mr. Sanderson, can you put some sense into this, please?
I don't know about sense, but I have met with the Dolphin Sands Community Association who have made this request formally. I've talked to our works manager about this, talked to the fellow that did the fire assessment for Dolphin Sands, who suggested in the middle of the night and the smoke and all this, they should have the metal, they should have proper property signs, numbers, not on the ground, and also they should be consistent, and the group should get a grant to do such a thing rather than painting them on the ground like that. So we're following that up, but that has been a formal request.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill.
Well, just as a resident of Dolphin Sands Road, I totally agree. Putting them on the road would be not only useless, but it'd be a continual job because they would be run off. But more importantly, the 0.5 kilometre marks are already there. So Dolphin Sands it's marked at every 0.5 of a kilometre. And that, I think, was primarily put in for fire reasons. And everybody knows that now and looks for it. And it does represent very closely the corresponding allotments. So that's just my...
But we are following up about that.
Councillor Gregson, please do not interrupt. Councillor Churchill was speaking. Councillor Mr. Sanderson was trying to answer him. Please do not interrupt. If you continue to do it, I'm going to eject you from the meeting.
I haven't interrupted.
Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I just want to know why Dolphin Sands Road people should get better benefits than those people that live on adjacent to and almost on dirt roads.
Councillor Young.
Because all the painting on the signs would do no difference on a dirt road, even half-kilometre marks would soon disappear.
Take that on notice, councillor.
Dirt road.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The agenda item 12.
Just before you go into the confidential items closed session, I'm going to object to that.
Object to what?
Object to the open session moving into closed session. I'm going to pass a motion, so I'd just like to give you notice on that, please.
I didn't hear that, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Gregson objects to us going into closed session.
Oh.
Right, so I just thought I'd preface that.
Because of what?
Well,
Madam
Mayor, have we got a motion already?
Yes,
Yeah, please.
It's like,
This is difficult enough. It is difficult enough to chair this meeting with one person speaking without you interrupting, as Councillor Gregson does. Councillor Gregson, what is
I'm going to move a motion
in relation to?
yes, I'm just going to move a motion that on the confidential item, thanks, Bill. That in the closed session, agenda item 3.1, chipper service for Dolphin Sands bushfire mitigation, be moved to the open session on account of public interest, openness, transparency and accountability.
The seconder,
Second that.
Councillor Churchill. Right. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Can it be done?
Absolute majority,
It can't be done, Mr.
with an absolute majority.
Excuse me?
It can be done with an absolute majority.
Yes, I realise that. Thank you. Thank you.
Can we have a discussion on it? Seeing that. We have a discussion on that? Second.
Councillor Churchill seconded. Yes.
Madam Mayor, I'd object to a discussion because it would automatically, by discussion, take it out of closed session into
Yes.
public.
Yes.
So I don't think you're entitled to have the discussion.
Can I reply to Councillor Young? I wouldn't discuss the closed session items here. I'd just say why I wanted it in open session. I wouldn't refer to any items in the closed session 3.1.
I don't understand your reasoning, Councillor Gregson. You've asked for item 3.1 to be placed into the open agenda,
Yes.
as I'm guessing agenda item 11.4 or 12.1, something, whatever the number is. I'm a little bit confused about it, but I agree with other speakers that it's not something that I think can be debated now. You cannot give your reasons for it. It's effectively, in my view, a procedural motion that I think we need to just, there's no debate on it, as far as I know. Mr. Sanderson, is that an accurate statement that I've just made, please? Yeah, because it is effectively a procedural motion, isn't it?
Yes, it's moving an agenda item, yes.
Yes.
It's
Thank
not a
you.
motion of action or.
Okay, thank you. So on that basis, the fact that it is moved and seconded that agenda item 3.1 be moved into the open session, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Councillors Gregson and Churchill are in favour. Councillor Walker in favour. Those against? Councillor Edwards, Councillor Young, Deputy Mayor Simons, Mayor Arnold, the motion is lost. The recommendation is in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2025, as Mayor, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. Item 1.1, request for leave of absence. 1.2, notification of leave of absence for parental leave. 2.1, minutes of the closed session of the Ordinary Council meeting held on Tuesday, the 24th of March. 3.1, a chipper service for Dolphin Sands bushfire mitigation. 3.2, Swansea Duck Park bridge replacement, and 3.3, the Bicheno Lions Park playground development. There is a recommendation to move into closed session. Councillor Walker, thank you.
Thank you. I'll move that council moves into closed session at
4:24.
4:24.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Churchill, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can we have a short break?